I'm Joe Brown, you're watching Vintage TV. I'm on tour at the moment. Come and see us.
I'll be down to get you in a hot bar, honey. You better be ready about 8:30. Oh, sugar, don't be late. I wanna be there when the band starts rocking. Remember when...
Joe, good to see you as always. The early days for you started off as a guitarist, really, not as a frontman, but with those early rock and rollers. You were the first wave, really, with the Eddie Cochrans,
Yeah.
the Gene Vincents.
Well, I was lucky, you see, I got this job right out of the blue from Larry Parnes' office. And they said their guitar player had gone sick on this show at Southend, and would I go and take over? And I said, well, how much? And he said, 10 bob, pay your own fare. You know what I mean? So I was on nothing to start with. And on that particular show, I backed the whole show. And unbeknown to me, and I didn't know who he was anyway, but Jack Good was in the audience, and he brought along 4 or 5 young guys that he wanted to audition for what was to be the new Old Boy show. So they asked us if we'd stay behind and play for the auditions, you see. So we said, yeah. So we stayed, and about 4 or 5 of these guys come up, and they all did, I think 4 of them did Hound Dog, and 1 of them did Don't Be Cruel, and Jack Good wasn't having any of this. Oh, no, he said, we've got enough Elvis Presley. He said, we've, you know, the Cliffs, and there's Cliff and Marty and Billy and all that doing the kind of Elvis Presley approach, you know, we don't want any more. He said to Larry Parnes, but tell me, he said, who's that chap with the spiky hair jigging up and down over there? Oh, he said, that's, someone said, it's Joe, his name's Joe. Oh, that's Joe. And Jack Good said, and who's Joe's manager? And straight away, Larry Parnes said, well, I am. You know, I never met the guy before, you know. So that's how it started. And the Boy Meets Girl show was the one where where Jack brought all the American stars over. So consequently, I got to play with these wonderful people. And also, because in those days, the Musicians Union, they wouldn't let the Americans bring any of their musicians. They were allowed to bring, say, 1 musician or 2 musicians, their MD and their pianist or something like that. And so we got to go on tour with these people.
So what's the story behind this guitar, Joe?
This is great. This is a guitar that George Harrison's son, Danny, he's a lovely guy, Danny, phoned me up. He said, I've got a present for you, he said. I went over to the house, and this is an exact copy of Eddie Cochran's Gretsch.
Fantastic.
Even down to the rust on the pickups and all the marks on the back and everything. And inside the case, it was Eddie's laundry list.
You're joking?
Yeah, and I can tell you now, Eddie Cochran had 23 pairs of socks. How do I know this? Because there was 22 pairs of socks on the laundry list. Right. And he must have been wearing a pair.
Well, if anyone does Eddie Cochran on Mastermind, it's you.
You could do it, yeah. So it's a great guitar, actually. I'm using it on stage.
It's nice and toppy, isn't it? It's got a nice sharp sound to it.
Well, you know, I mean, in those days, our guitars that were used in those days, they were kind of, you know, you bought a set of guitar strings, not any particular gauge, and they were real heavy, and we wondered how these Americans was able to get this sound that they got. And Eddie told me, he said, well, what they used to do is they'd take the 3rd string, which used to be a heavy string like that one, which you couldn't bend, and replace it with the 1st string. So you could play, you could bend it, whereas you can't bend that. You know, you can't hear.
But conversely, it's not that good for chords, because sometimes it was out of tune.
Nah.
Not the way you play.
Don't matter with rock and roll, does it?
Ice water, Papa. She said it's 2 feet high and rise. We can make it to the road in a homemade boat. That's the only thing we got left that'll float. It's already over all the weed notes. 2 feet high and rising.
The first gig I ever did, and it was Johnny Cash. And Johnny was singing his, it was a song called How High's the Water, Mama? And Luther Perkins' part was this. That's all he played all the way through. It drove you mad. Johnny sang, How high's the water, Mama? 2 foot high and rising. How high's the water, Papa? And that went on, and then it went up a tone. How high's the water, Mama? 3 foot high and rising. Right through again, and how high's the water, Mama? Up he went again, you know. I'm getting fed up with this. So we got to about 5 foot. And he goes, How high's the water, Mama? Instead of going, I went, he said, hold it, and stop the show. This is in 1959. Now, you didn't stop the show. It was impossible. I mean, they just went right the way through with these things. It cost a fortune to record them. They had one machine in London called an Ampex machine, which we all know now that Ampex make tape recorders and that, but this was only one of the, just the one they had in England. And all the mic lines went down telephone lines to London, so nobody stopped the show. And Johnny just stopped the show and he said, hold it. And he looked across at the orchestra and he said, Joe, there'll be no picking there. And I was fired. This was my first show and I was sacked on the spot.
Wow.
And I was really devastated, you know. So I'm sitting in the, after the show had finished, I'm sitting in the studio, the empty studio. I'm sitting on one of these rostrums and with my guitar and almost in tears, you know. And Johnny Cash walks in. He sees me sitting there and he comes up to me. He said, what's the matter, Joe? I said, what's the matter? What's the matter? I said, I've got the sack. Americans don't know what the sack. He said, you got the sack? What you going to put in the sack? I said, you don't understand, Johnny. I've been fired. Fired? Fired? What for? I said, I'll bloody tell you what for. I said, because you stopped the show and I got the sack. We'll just have to see about that. And he went and had a word with Jack and I got the job back. But that was my first ever professional gig with an American star. That was Johnny Cash.
7 little girls sitting in the back seat, hugging and a kissing with Fred. I said, why don't one of you come up and sit beside me? And this is what the 7 girls said.
All together now, 1, 2, 3. Keep your mind on your driving.
You were always known as a guitarist in the early days, but also as what the enemy used to refer to as a vocal personality.
Oh.
You know, the Elvises, the Cliffs, the Beatles, they were going to win the big polls, but there was always that strange whole vocal personality of the year.
I know.
And because of the cheeky smile and the humour and stuff like that, that was right up your street.
Well, I didn't want to be a singer. I never wanted to be a singer. And we did this Boy Meets Girl show, and then people were writing in and saying, who's that chap jigging about out the back there, you know. And eventually Jack Good said, right, you're going to sing a song this week. And I thought, all right, then, yeah, well, what's he going to give me to sing? And you never believe the song he gave me to sing. I hated it, and I still hate it to this day. He made me sit in this cardboard car, right, with half a dozen Verner's girls in the back and sing 7 little girls sitting in the back street and all that. Oh no, why couldn't I do a Chuck Berry song? Something, you know. And I never wanted to be a singer.
Little girls searching in the back seat, everyone in love with Fred.
I've always been a big fan of entertainers, performers. I've never consciously gone down that road. I've always been a cheeky chappie and told a few jokes and that. I think a lot of it's to do with the fact that I've been very lucky. I've worked with some fabulous people. You know, I was in the West End with Dame Anna Neagle for 2 years, and she was so kind to me, you know, and really looked after me. And I've always tried to learn from these people, and I've always looked and thought, what have they got that other people haven't got? And it's this presence, which you can't actually rehearse. You can't. It's like a feeling that comes from you to the audience and back. And you can't actually define it, but it's there. I know it's there. I feel it every time I go out there. I know loads of great performers that haven't got that. And they don't, they're brilliant performers, brilliant. but they haven't got that love for it.
It's just being a communicator, and you are a communicator on stage.
I think so, and with my voice, the way I go on about things, I need all the help I can get. Do you know what I mean?
And here they are, fresh from their triumphant appearances in the United States. 12,000 young Britons roar a welcome. Their shrieks rise in an awesome wave. Our staff scientist, in an odd moment, calculated that this young mob is generating enough energy to put 3 Atlas missiles in orbit and power 54,000 transistor radios.
I worked with the Beatles in I think it was 1962, before they had their big hit. And Brian Epstein booked me, because I think I had a hit record or something at the time. Yes, I did. And he booked me to play in the bigger theatres, because the boys couldn't fill the bigger theatres, and he wanted them to play the bigger theatres. They was doing great in all the clubs around Liverpool, and they had a great following, but they couldn't fill the big theatre. So I went along and I did a short tour with them, and they opened the show for me. And then, of course, at the end of '62, they really took off, and I didn't see or hear from them for years and years and years. So when I moved into the Henley-on-Thames area, I got this phone call, and a voice said, "Hello, is that Joe Brown?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "This is lovely." He said, "I don't know if you remember me." He said, "Isn't that lovely? It's George here, George Addison, and I hear you're a new neighbour. You better come over and we'll play some guitars and all." And that was it. I mean, I was over most weeks, over there. He was a lovely man, George. And of course, both of us had a great interest in ukuleles. We both loved ukuleles. And George actually was a member of the George Formby Appreciation Society and had them all over his house.
You see, why is that? Because as a great musician, the owner of many guitars, one perceives, I could well be wrong here, everyone thinks the ukulele is a very easy instrument. It may be. But why would you and George hit on the ukulele?
Well, I think I've always thought that the ukulele is a very underrated instrument. It's a wonderful musical instrument. The fact that it was so cheap to buy put it into the toy bracket. And people thought they were buying a toy guitar, which in actual fact they were, because it's 4 strings and it's the same tuning as 4 strings on a guitar. But you can pick a ukulele up, anybody can pick a ukulele up, and if they can hum a song, they'll be able to play it in a couple of days. They'll be able to play that song on the ukulele. It's so easy to learn to play the ukulele. If you want to take it farther, of course, then you can get some of these Hawaiian blokes. I mean, they're like Django Reinhardt an octave up. They're flying away on the thing.
Hello, I'm Lindsay DePaul and you're watching Vintage TV, the TV station that shows you the best of songs that stand the test of time.
1, 2, 3, 4. She was just.
We became resident at the Cavern Club in 1962. I was 7 at the time. And as we all were.
They do not write songs like that anymore.
They were good songs, they had great lyrics, very memorable tunes.
Baby, 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 you're out of time.
We still got the knickers thrown, but they're much bigger now.
Baby, 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 you're out of time.
Fake tan, hairspray, spandex, all adds up. Thankfully, Aviva gave me 12 weeks free in my car insurance.
Want 12 weeks free on this year's car insurance? Go direct. Get the Aviva deal.
Every morning. Every day. Supple, healthy feeling skin. That's the E45 effect. Even for eczema. Trust clinically proven E45. Also in E45 lotion.
Over its lifetime, 15 kilograms of grease and food passes through a dishwasher, clogging vital parts. For flawless results, Finish Dishwasher Cleaner has a unique dual-layer formula. The blue layer targets grease, and the clear layer attacks limescale. And a cleaner dishwasher means cleaner dishes. Finish, the diamond standard. P&G, proud sponsor of Mums.
Everyone loves the feeling of soft carpet. To enjoy that renewed feeling in your home, use Vanish Power Foam. Its dirt lifting technology loosens and lifts deep down dirt, cleaning 5 times better than vacuuming alone. For softer carpet that everyone loves, don't just vacuum clean, Vanish Clean.
Here's a question for you. Is this rather sorry-looking bouncy castle a bit like your cash ISA, i.e. not full to capacity? Well, if you fill up your ISA by the 5th of April, you can enjoy tax-free savings on anything up to £5,100. Up it goes. Oh, blimey. Here she is. Yeah, shoes off. Good, always take your shoes off. Health and safety. Take one small step to filling up your ISA and get in touch with Barclays.
Hello, I'm Claire Grogan from Altered Images and you're watching Vintage TV.
When everything is getting worse and troubles plague you daily, there's nothing like a short, sharp burst upon your ukulele.
This is a cue for you because I'm not going until you give me a burst.
On my ukulele? All right.
Especially if I'll see you in my dreams, which I think we'll talk about it when you get back from the wall.
Okay. Well, I've got my own brand of ukulele, you know.
I know.
And there's one of them there. This is an old Martin uke, but it's got a nice sound. I don't know if you pick it up with this. You know, on a sort of 5'2", eyes are blue, I'm what my folks have to do, everything but see my game.
Why does everybody sound like George Formby as soon as they do?
George and I used to love all these old records, and George used to find them from anywhere. He loved Ogie Carmichael.
Oh yeah.
And he used to drive me mad. He'd phone you up and you pick the phone and he'd say, "Who's that?" And he'd go, "It's only me from over the sea, Barnacle Bill the Sailor." He drove us all mad with that. But he sent me an album. He said, "I thought you might like this album." And it was from the 1930s, I think, a bloke called Ukulele Ike. And his name was Ike Edwards. And he was the voice of Jiminy Cricket. Oh. And sang those great songs like "When You Wish Upon a Star" and "Give a Little Whistle" and all that. And "See You in My Dreams" was on this album. I knew the song because I grew up in a pub in the East End and they used to sing it there. But that was when I heard that song, I thought, I love that song and I'm going to close my show with it. And I did. And it was a big success. Well, not record-wise, but when we come to do the concert for George, Olivia asked me if I'd close the show with him.
It's very emotional the way you do it as well. And I mean, no disrespect, say if you're on X Factor now, first round they go, "All right, out son."
Yeah,
Bob Dylan out, Bob Geldof out. I mean, but the whole thing is we've had a variety of distinctive voices, and it's not how good your voice is; it's the emotion you put
in the case of that particular song, it is exactly what I was talking about before, and that is applying the right feeling to the right song. But one thing about that song I will say is that I've never heard anybody do the verse. And it's the verse that sets the whole thing up. You know, it just starts so. Though the days are long, twilight sings a song of the happiness that used to be. Soon my eyes will close, soon I'll find repose, and in dreams you're always near to me. I'll see you in my dreams, hold you in my dreams. Someone took you out of my arms, still I the thrill of your charms, lips that once were mine, tender eyes that shine, they will light my way tonight. I'll see you in my dreams. You know, it's just a simple little song.
It's so good. Yeah. But you still love touring. I mean, I saw you a couple of years back, and you still love it. But you've got a very good band as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Phil Capaldi you had on drums, and he's still with you.
They're all,
Jim's brother. I mean, you had some, and Peter, your son, a very, very good lineup there.
We lost two of the guys.
Yeah.
We lost the bass singer, bass voice, but we're still back at it now. But you know what we do with these tours? Actually, it's a nightmare putting one together because we play the same places every year. I must say that what I really congratulate myself on, I'm not being funny, but when I decided no more nightclubs, no more, I've had enough of it, I can't stand any more of it. And I've said to my manager, well, what are we going to do? He said, well, we should do theatres. I said, well, that's what I'd really like to do. He said, well, let's try that. So we were going out and we were doing these theatres and pulling 200 people in, and then now we're doing 4 nights at the same theatre and you can't get a ticket.
Why is that?
Because they like the show and they bring their mates and they come back, and every time we go back there's double the audience in, every time we come back. And I'm very proud of this because I tell you why, because I know that they're only there because they like the show, not because I've been in a soap opera.
Yeah.
But we change our show and we put 9 or 10 new songs into every tour that we do. I mean, I made the mistake of never doing any of my old hits when I did the Brownstone Brew stuff in the 70s. Oh no, I was now a hippie. I wasn't going to be singing all them Men Really Apes and all that. And of course it was a total disaster. So when we do it now, we go out and not only do we do the old stuff, but we enjoy doing it. Some of them are a bit teenage, which we don't do those kind of things. And some we don't do because they're rotten songs anyway. But Picture of You and Henry VIII and Shine and all those things, and even Ava Nagila, we do that, and that tears them up. We do that on a mandolin now instead of a guitar.
Yeah,
I mean, we put a thing in, George Harrison again, you see. He sent me this record in the 1930s by a bloke called Sol Hoopy and his Hawaiians. And we're doing one of their songs and it tears them up because it's a great song.
You still write a lot of songs though, don't you?
Yeah, not as much as I should be doing, but if I go to Nashville I write, but it's not just country and western music out there, the whole music scene's amazing out there.
Well, Roger Cook's a good pop writer anyway. What sort of things are you writing with Roger?
Well, I just finished writing this little ukulele song with Roger, which I think is a good song. Would you like to hear it?
I'd love to hear it, yeah, I'd love to. Back to the uke.
Back to the uke. It's kind of, goes like this. Tickle me once, tickle me twice, tickle me naughty, tickle me nice, but tickle my heart, tickle my heart, tickle my fancy, tickle my toes, tickle my tummy, right up to my nose, but tickle my heart, come on and tickle my heart. Tickle me in the morning, tickle me through the night, tickle me without warning, that'll be alright. Tickle me tender, tickle me rough, I'll let you know when I've had enough. Just tickle my heart, anytime, tickle my heart. Tickle my heart, There's another verse and all that. But
Is that going on tour with you?
It's on tour. It's closing the first half with it. Yeah,
That's brilliant.
Sounds great with the band.
Well, you're putting together, I mean, like the variety show of old, what's going to work, what's going to balance, what you're going to end the show with, what you're going to start the second half with, all important.
Well, absolutely. Well, you know, when you compile your programs, how important it is. You know, sometimes you find two songs that really go together, segue. You know, that's the kind of thing that you learn, isn't it? And you retain that. If you're any good at what you do, you retain that. It's important to you. But I've seen shows with people that have had a strings of hits and very good too, very good singers and good movers and good performers and wonderful hit songs, and just got no idea at all how to put a show together. And to me, that is just so silly when you've got all that amount of talent going for yourself. Yeah, I've always thought we'll make the best of what you've got, really. And like I said before, you need all the help you can get. And silly little things like that are really what will make the show, I think.
And the audience being able to sing along with some of them. If they've had a sing, they go home happy, don't they?
Well, I don't know. I don't encourage it myself.
In the night, there are sights to be seen. Stars like jewels on the crown of a queen. But the only sight I want of you is that wonderful picture of you.
Hi, I'm Elaine Page, and you've got great